The topic assigned to me is EUS celiac block. I think the learning objectives in next 10 to 15 minutes. What is the terminology EUS, CPN and CPB? The current indications, contraindications, procedure checklist, the current evidence. Is there any impact on survival and what is new in CPN? And finally, the summary and guidelines of EUS guided celiac plexus neurolysis. I think coming to the terminology, CPN, as we are used, is a permanent ablation of celiac plexus with alcohol or phenol. It is indicated in a malignant disease, that is pancreatic tumor. It is an urgent to reduce the opioid usage, but please note that it is unlikely to resolve the pain completely. And coming to the celiac plexus block, this is a temporary inhibition of pain transmission via celiac plexus. And what we use is here corticosteroid and long-acting local anesthetic, that is bupivacaine and triamcinolone. And the indications are, the current indications are CA pancreas, which is very advanced for pain palliation, that is celiac plexus neurolysis. And please note, chronic pancreatitis, especially celiac plexus block, is no more an indication as per the AAG guidelines. And coming to the what are the contraindications of this procedure, one is if we are not able to visualize the anatomical landmark, a distorted anatomy, and a previous surgery where you cannot see aorta celiac axis opening, and large tumor mass, eccentric celiac origin, and an ectatic aorta, then this becomes difficult to exactly localize the celiac axis. And very gross cachexia with loss of soft tissue space between the gastric wall and aorta. And finally, coagulopathy and severe thrombocytopenia, it's a relative contraindication. And before we start, I think these are the procedure checklist we should always follow in CPN. One is we should have a clear indication. That is, patient should have a pain and he has already used the painkillers and then that is not working. That's a clear indication. And we should clearly discuss with the patient the amount of pain relief what they get. Because most of the time they feel that the moment we do CPN, everything gets, their pain completely disappears. I think the amount of pain relief we should clearly discuss with the patient before we start the procedure. And peri-procedure IV ciprofloxacin 200 milligram, that is the first thing what we should be doing, and linear array echoendoscope. And we should have in the room, endoscopy room, 0.25% bupivacaine and 20 ml of alcohol, absolute alcohol for CPN. And CPB, that is for chronic pancreatitis, although nowadays at least we have stopped doing celiac plexus block for chronic pancreatitis, 20 ml of 0.5% bupivacaine and 80 milligram of 4 ml of that's 4 ml of triamcinolone. And the needles which we should be using are 22 gauge, 19 gauge, or a 20 gauge specific CPN needle which comes from Cook. These are the three needles which we can use. And what is the aftercare? Once we do the procedure, one is we should monitor the vital sign in the endoscopy room for next 2 to 4 hours. They may have little diarrhea that has to be told to the patient. And then IV fluids if they become hypotensive. And some patients may also feel more pain post celiac plexus block. Then increase the analgesic if needed. And then discharge them with ciprofloxacin 250 to 500 milligram twice daily for next 3 days. And then this is the procedure exactly. The first step is the location of the aorta celiac axis. What we are seeing here is the aorta. This is the celiac axis. This can be a node or it can be a ganglion. And see, this is the CPN needle which is coming here. And this is the how we pass the needle. And then the next step is you aspirate so that you don't get the blood inside, and then you slowly inject the bupivacaine. This is, see this, now there is a whitening, and then you inject alcohol. I think this is what the procedure. What we can do is we can inject 5 ml of bupivacaine, and then you can give absolute alcohol, and again you can give another 5 ml of bupivacaine, or we can give the 5 ml of bupivacaine and then give another 20 ml of absolute alcohol. That is also a method which it can be used. And then now we are all aware of different techniques, how we should puncture with the needle. See, this is the central technique, that is where exactly between at the origin of celiac axis you go, that is the central technique. And bilateral technique is you go on both the sides of the celiac axis. You just give injection here and the another amount you give it here. That is the bilateral technique. And then these are the small ganglions. What we see is if you can inject directly 1 ml of absolute alcohol, if you can see the ganglion. And broad plexus neurolysis is that is BPN, where you inject at the origin of celiac artery and also you inject at the origin of SMA. That's a broad plexus neurolysis. These are the different techniques of EUS guided celiac plexus block, celiac plexus neurolysis. And then what is the efficacy of this procedure? I think this is an old study, but what the pain relief, what they have quoted is around 73 to 80% in pancreatic cancer, whereas in chronic pancreatitis, it was 51 to 59%. I think most of the guidelines which have come after the 2015, that is 2017 endoscopic ultrasound guidelines, AEG, that is our Asian EUS group guidelines, now says specifically chronic pancreatitis. I think this procedure is more of a placebo rather than of a benefit. And then which is a better modality for pain relief, central CPN, which is the classical one, or bilateral CPN, or the ganglion neurolysis. I think bilateral CPN appears to be better than the central CPN, but once again, the different trials, they say that some show that there is a benefit, some show that there is not much of a benefit. That is the controversy still in this. And then celiac ganglion neurolysis is better than the central or bilateral CPN is one of the study, but another study refutes this. That's why this needs a clear trials to differentiate. But as of now, bilateral CPN appears to be better than the central CPN. And CGN, if you can do, that is ganglion neurolysis. Each ganglion you inject alcohol, that is better than central or bilateral CPN. And what are the complications we can expect? One is transient diarrhea, pain exacerbation, which we should always tell to the patient. And then we can expect transient hypotension. And then inebriations, which are almost occurs in any one of these complications can occur up to 1/3 of the, almost less than 1/3 of the patients. And then is there any severe adverse effect? I think this has to be told to the patient. At least 4 cases of paraplegia has been described. In fact, we have seen, especially percutaneous celiac plexus block, the paraplegia in our own patients. That's why we have shifted to the EUS guided celiac plexus block, because that percutaneous or CT guided has more problems, especially percutaneous anesthetist doing has got more problems with this paraplegia. Even this can happen with EUS guided method also. The postulated hypothesis is when we inject, there will be a spasm of the radicular arteries which supply the spinal cord, and that's because of the alcohol. And then one more thing is, if you inject very deeply, then that can also result in the damage to the anterior spinal artery, because the artery of Adamkowitz, which supplies the anterior spinal artery, gets damaged in some patients. And then the question is, can we do a second CPN? This is the study which says in 2019 that repeated EU CPN can cause vascular injuries.
Hello, my name is Namchali Paswasti from Siriraj Hospital, Bangkok, Thailand. I'd like to thank Dr. Malay Sharma for the opportunity. Today, I will be speaking as FNAC. The basic things to consider when doing EUS FNA are number one, aspiration techniques, such as how to select the target area, central versus lesion, speed of needle throw. There are some techniques have been described like door knocking and woodpecker, which I will touch on later. Number of to and fro movements, number of passes, the use of stylet.
I would like to thank Dr. Malay Sharma, who is a mentor and then who is an avid use, and they have been used less common use of chemotherapy and radiation. But compared to the other methods of celiac plexus neurolysis, EU-CPN had a higher, longer survival compared to either CT-guided or a percutaneous guided approach. And then one more strange thing was patient who received CPN had a longer survival than CGN, that is central the ganglion neurolysis. The possible postulations what they have told is when we inject individually to this alcohol to the ganglion, they may cause this inflammation, and then that may result in the earlier death. That's what is the postulation, but it's not been completely proven. And what is new in celiac block? I think this is the new things in celiac block. This is in 2016. One step you can do all the procedure. Means if a patient who has got advanced pancreatic cancer, you can do a ERCP or an EUS guided ERCP, and then you can do a duodenal stenting if the patient is blocked, and then you can do an EUS celiac block one-step method. I think this was only ERCP and endoscopic duodenal stenting and EUS guided celiac block. I think with more and more EUS now coming into the O, then probably we can do an EUS guided portocoduodenostomy if we cannot enter, and then EUS guided GJ, and then EUS guided celiac block. I think that's the one-step method which can be done so that patient is benefited. And then the new thing is instead of using alcohol, we can use phenol and glycerol. The postulated hypothesis is it stays longer, and then the pain relief is much better, and the median duration of pain relief was almost 19 weeks. That is phenol and glycerol. And then other thing is addition of dexmedetomidine to bupivacaine in EUS CPN can be beneficial. It can increase the pain relief. This is the third new thing which is there in the celiac block. And then the fourth new thing in celiac block is RFA, wherein you can use an RFA instead of a CPN for the ganglion, and they have shown that the pain relief is slightly better compared to the EUS CPN. And then the new technique, that is the technology using contrast enhanced EUS CPN, where exactly we can exactly know the dispersion of ethanol during the EUS approach when we use this contrast enhanced EUS. I think this is the new thing in CPN in 2021. And then finally, the summary and recommendations of our own guidelines, that is Asian EUS group guidelines. There are 3 guidelines. One is from the endoscopy and the European group, and the latest one is this Asian EUS group guidelines. What they say about CPN. CPN is definitely recommended in patients suffering from pain due to unresectable upper abdominal cancer, especially pancreatic cancer. And EUS guided, please note, EUS guided CPN for treatment of pain arising from chronic pancreatitis is not recommended. All the 2 guidelines, at least they say that the CPN in celiac, CPN for chronic pancreatitis is more of placebo. And EUS guided approach is recommended over percutaneous or image guided, means anesthetic doing a celiac plexus celiac block or a CT guided block, EUS is always better. And we should always use prophylactic antibiotics whenever we are giving steroids and bupivacaine for EUS celiac plexus block. But once we are no more using the chronic pancreatitis indication for celiac plexus block. I think this doesn't make much changes. And then 10 to 20 ml of absolute ethanol is recommended for celiac plexus neurolysis. Volume may be reduced in CGN, that is celiac ganglia neurolysis. If you find a ganglia, you can inject individually 1 to 2 ml. And phenol may be used instead of alcohol, especially if they have an alcohol intolerance due to aldehyde dehydrogenase deficiency. But the comparative efficacy and safety of the two agents are still not certain. And then for performing the CGN, how to identify the celiac ganglia? It is identified between aorta and left adrenal gland in most of the patients. Otherwise, as I showed in one of our cases, it may be located just above the origin of celiac axis in many patients. And then EUS graded CPN, early EUS graded CPN. This is one new thing, that is you can do an FNA if you feel that it's a very advanced cancer, you can do an EUS graded biopsy, and then same time you can do a celiac plexus block so that it reduces the pain and it avoids the it may moderate the opioid consumption compared to the best medical therapy. But the only caveat here is he should have an advanced say pancreas, not a very early case of say pancreas. And EUS graded celiac the ganglion neurolysis is recommended for single or bilateral injections if we can find the ganglion. When the ganglion cannot be identified, EUS CPN is performed either the central technique or bilateral technique. But at this point of time, the evidence is contradictory on which approach is superior. And complications of EUS CPN and CGN are generally minor and they do not need any specific treatment. And then repeated injections in chronic pancreatitis to be avoided. And finally, a word on the training. EUS graded celiac plexus ablation is recommended for an endocrinologist experienced in EUS and EUS FNA. Those who are doing regularly FNA, maybe around 15 to 20 cases, they can do an EUS graded celiac plexus ablation. And finally, to conclude, the techniques are widely used, but still there are still questions regarding their real efficacy and then which technique is most effective, central, bilateral, CGN or broad plexus, and then survival outcomes associated with the technique. I think future studies should be designed to address these questions and determine the efficacy of these techniques for cancer patients, especially pancreatic cancer. And I thank once again Dr. Malay for doing a wonderful EUS workshop. It's a feast. And unlike the most conferences, what we see, the number of cases, what he does in one day is phenomenal. And hats off to Dr. Malay and the whole team. Thank you very much for giving an opportunity to speak.